Good evening, for Enterprise fans. Welcome to a Friday night race for the Zemus Zone 6 between Falgren and Golden Shocker. My name is Garen here on the mic with Deathlike by me in the comms booth, with Neurocod doing the tracking and Rydia Caller doing the restreams, I think for the first time. So, welcome. Thank you very much. How are you doing tonight, Deathlike?
I'm doing well. I see my favorite character is the starting hero, so that's gonna excite.
Ah, so
So
you're a fan of the other weight mage. Excellent.
hey, hey, you can there's a pre you the day that you have a seed where you don't have a white age in your
Uh,
party, you'll easily regret.
I actually have run one of these seeds where a white mage was not available before it was go time. That was fun. Hopefully our raiders will not have. Well, actually, they're not gonna have that problem. They have a quorum already. Anyways, in this flag set, we have 8 objectives. Runners have to do 6. The forge is part of every flag, and in this case, the random objectives are we've got defeating the king and the queen of the Fey March, conquering the vanilla ribbon room, trading away both of our tails, rat and pink tail, uh, burning mist, and curing the fever with the sand ruby. So that's a fun set of objectives.
Yeah, I mean, required fade. You can't required. We like Fade March, but this time doesn't seem like Fade March is in the cards. If in fact, you might want to just try. If we want to avoid the moon, I guess we could, but I don't know. Also, with both tails being part of the turn-ins, I don't. It's hard to. It's nice when a seed provides the runners the opportunity. Unless you, I would just turn in the red tail and maybe hope for the pink tail to show up right then and there. Otherwise, it's just for terms of objectives, you just deal what you've got.
Well, I mean, we'll see how the logic turns up here, but yes, there is that hook is one of those things where it's like, is it required? Is it not? Depends what's behind that rat tail, possibly. Is the Fey March required? Again, if either of those two bosses has something, kinda yes. So it's gonna be interesting to see what the runners choose to fade and what they choose to actually take. Maybe they'll make the ever icky ordeals fade or something like that. Anyways, the most important part of this flag is the early looting choice. You have T Pro settings on, max tier 5, min tier 3. So, not gonna have great equipment here. No holy swords hiding on the blue planet for Cecil if he should show up. And no junk chests with cash for you. So it's mostly a question of, do you go to Eblin first? Do you go to Watery Pass first? Where are you gonna get your power from? And meanwhile, we're off. Who is the partner? Oh, it's a twin seed.
That's that's the dream start. You get your Palom is one of the better characters to get your seed start rolling pretty quickly, and when and then you. I mean, this is sometimes now this is not uncommon, but I like dream team starts sometimes, and this is one of them.
It's only better than the Nightmare team start of Yang and DKC. We get a spoon, which is not too useful right away. But on the other hand, we do have Twin available immediately, and Palom, as you say, gets Ice 2 as soon as he gets A level somewhere, which can be the Antlion case once it's not split.
Or just a free twin to even
Let's see, we
beat
check
boss for the most part.
the Baron item shop. We have 4 rages for sale if we need to stock up on those. Ogre Axe in the inn. We have Dr. Luggage with our murder child, Rydia, over there.
It seems tempting to do that, but you have mages in your party, and you don't know what's punching at the other end of that two for a fight. So it seems tempting, but it's a for Iridia. If it were for like an edge, I'd be more. I might consider gambling with this. Maybe with this party, but probably with
Yeah,
at least the few bosses under the belt.
I think the only fight that you actually get through with this party at that point is King and Queen Eblin. Even that would be a little bit dicey. We have Sammy arrows here in the Eblin castle. A golden shocker is chosen to go with the watery pass. Advantage of the watery pass, no monster boxes. Advantage of the Eblin castle, more chests, and slightly higher average, I think. You see Sork robes. That's nice for Palom.
Something to the safety of the waterway. I like the waterway, but it's more for a casual run in a sense, because there's if you are sensitive to spending time resetting on then Eblin can be a toss up dependent, like really
Yeah, and
there's optimizations with that too.
you see Cat Claw and Tiara in the throne room here of Eblin. So we saw a Dwarf Axe. We saw, I think, a Mirror Blade over on Golden Shocker's side. So far, I would say Poison Arrows here and Dragon Whip. Dragon Whip's nice for that Radiant when she comes on board. I would say that so far, the extra loot has kind of favored Falgren a little bit. It's better for the characters he actually has right now. And that Tiara is Radia's best, so that's pretty nice.
Still,
Just found the Cure 2s here in Mysidia. Golden Shocker is going to take the Damesian treasury, which is a usual logical follow-on to taking the Watery Pass right nearby. We'll probably launch the Hovercraft at this point because, well, you've got 2 tail checks, why not? New knife, that's nice. A little bit of wisdom for Palom, and a possible anti-mage weapon if you've got Pain or Cecil later. A bunch of power staves, rune ring, dancing dagger. Dancing dagger is nice.
yeah, it's hard to not avoid doing for the hovercraft and the Dancian treasure basement. It's really valuable.
Falgren, meanwhile, has chosen to take the Watery Pass front as well. So Falgren is taking the strategy of do your looting early and then stop looting probably once you're about 5 or 10 minutes into the seed. Because in most cases, the runners are probably looking to get about 50 to 60-ish boxes on this flag set and try to keep it not much more than that. Just because every box takes a few seconds, and when you keep adding up, 2 seconds here, 2 seconds there, then you're talking about several minutes at some point. And it's not doing math on stream, that's just the way time works.
Well, I always like the early Mount Hobbs play, especially when you're not like comfortable with the characters we start with. An edge start usually is usually a pretty good start with some little comp.
Yeah, Yang and DKC, for example, is something I don't like taking here without trying at least get a level over in the Antlion Cave. We see it's some flavor of Mylon. Which one?
Shouldn't matter.
Mylon Z.
It should be an easier fight. You'll have twin magic to do the work, and problem.
Now, one interesting thing is on Golden Shocker's side, the team is not in the back row, whereas they are on Falgren's side.
That is well, that did have effect with the Golden. It's not immediate.
Well, it didn't actually hurt because Porum is the hero, so gets the experience, even though has currently pushing the floor. Gets a few levels there, so Palom is now pretty much online with his early tier 2 spells. I'm pretty good here. Falgren is also through, and we have a Cane, which is very nice because we've seen the Dwarf Axe. We can back row him. We've gotten some good spears for him, Blizzard and Flame spears, I think. So Cane's ready to go. The black belt or a headband for him, even better.
I think the only difference, and probably needs to be addressed in terms of putting characters around, Golden Shocker had the right idea in the sense for the fight, because you want the twin picked for their wisdom stat, because the whoever and it tends to be the faster one, or at least the one in the priority. So if they have equal agility, order kind of does matter. So and Porum tends to gain slightly more agility over time over Palom. So not while this is not can be the difference between the stat, and you definitely want Palom's wisdom stat driving that damage.
Yep. Both runners have gone to the Antlion Cave. Falcon's doing a little bit of extra looting, so it'll be a little bit slower getting into the fight. This is Ogopogo. A Golden Shocker is not healed before this fight, so that's going to leave Palom and Kane a little bit low. But there's no physical damage here, so it shouldn't be that bad. This Lit 2 takes it out, otherwise this could be a wipe. It should, but
it's fine. No, Lit 2 will, even if you do it's a weak. It's not okay, punishment. You just have to shake that off.
Okay, I thought for some reason that was a blaze counter, so never mind.
It's always lightning is the.
I think he's the only one that gets you off the hook, huh? Okay. Poison Axe on Falgren's side. We have the Baron Key. Well, if you want to go and see if that blue robe is a water hag or a gauntlet, we could try that out, I guess. There's a character behind there, too.
I would probably do that over ordeals. It's hard to, in this flag set, because in any of these seeds, unless Cecil is appearing, there's very little reason to do ordeals. At least you're not really incentivized unless you're kind of forced to because your key items are exhausted. The first three of the four starting key item spots are exhausted. So it's probably unlikely, but it can happen.
Now Golden Strikers are going to give us a look at this Fabul defense and see what dastardly things we've decided to assault the kingdom with today. Falgren had to reset out of that Ogo because it had not healed beforehand, and it was basically down to just Palom at that point. But head safe inside, so it doesn't lose too much time. Well, DKC himself is coming after Fabul. This won't be a problem. I mean, Kane's got enough HP to get through it. Is it keep Palom to get the experience, though, but could just simply let Palom and Porum drop and then just get Palom up after the waves are over with. DKC is not threatening in this location, so all we have to do is listen to a speech.
I think I saw a twin do nothing. Was it like they just failed for a moment, or did I? It was like it felt like that. But causing
Falgren is through the Ogopogo, and Golden Shocker is through the Fabul defense. Oh, it's a hook route, possibly. Still a chance for a Magma Key, I guess, but that hook is pretending that there are deadly things ahead.
I would look to do the hook route for the character and the loot. I mean, looting the left tower can be a play, but once you got the hook, there's just due to location, Cave Eblin, even with the one monster chest, has all the loot you'd ever really need. It's very dense, and if you kind of bump into one, you know where it is, and you can avoid it for the rest of the seed. It's or loot it later if you feel like it.
The other counterplay is Porum is probably going to learn to exit if you take her through the Mount Ordeals and the Baron Inn. So maybe you want to wait to dive that route until you get a free exit if you want to go back and either do the Eblin monster boxes, or you want to just simply do something else, whatever that might be. Golden Shocker, it looks like, is going to, though, check this character out right away and maybe check out the shops here. The Eblin Cave shop is a little better than the shops you'll see elsewhere in the overworld. We do have S-Pro on, so the shops really aren't going to have all that greatest stuff in them. You're not going to see most of your J items there, other than a couple low-tier ones. Got Cure 3s here. You're not going to see anything real good armor outside of maybe karate gis and some bandanas. This has got rune rings and bandanas. That's not too bad. We got cat claws and boomerang.
The shopping in this flag set is even I still think it's still worth checking the shops in a gated shop just to see if you can even get a black belt. That is still very
Yeah, I mean the
tier 5
black belt.
stuff.
Black belt is the prize in the gated shop, so on the underground and here in Eblin. Most of the time, you're not gonna check the armor shops in the overworld. Other than that, and most of the time, I mean, you'll check the weapon shops, maybe for like your elemental arrows, your elemental claws, arm arrows, your ogre axes, things like that. But armor shops are pretty much, unless you really need some defense of the generic type, no one's really gonna check those in this flag set.
Well, it's possibly vanilla, but it's still not it's possible. The dupe not as helpful, but that means that we'll probably be more incentivized to do the Baron in checks, like into Baron proper to get the extra character. So you might as well try to get every characters on your team, unless it's another dupe, which is still very possible. But I think looting is before you leave is it's still nice piece of change.
Yeah, the fun character are discovering themselves, or in some cases, a character having tea with themselves in the Baron Inn can also happen too. So anyways, yeah, I mean, the Baron Castle could have a dupe character. We know that the inn has a Rydia for them, but I think most of us are going to try going to Baron just to get a 5th character and go down that hook route with some bit of power. The seed might say no, or might give you Edward and just laugh at you. Either which way. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, right now the seed is reasonably safe. Kane is essentially the safeguard for this mage party. I mean, we're gonna add one more doing Baron Inn, so this is still pretty safe. Probably want to do like some the monster chests in Eblin just for experience to get Rydia up to par at least.
I think that would be a good play, but sometimes people leave Rydia down the floor trying to sling her. I think in a setting like this where you know you have to do a hook route, you probably don't want to take that route, but we'll see what the runners decide to do.
Yeah, the one thing about Rydia is if you don't have a decent summon with her, I think we saw some self. I feel we did. That would help because you need at least virus level damage spell, and that is she has a much slower spell progression than say Palom, and Palom is probably going to drive most of the work anyways until Rydia gets like a Leviathan or Bahamut loot.
Yeah, and the way we have the loot settings, it is possible to find a Leviathan or a Bahamut in a chest. That's not behind a monster. I mean, it's both of them are tier 5s, so you can find either one. If you happen to find it, then you really hope that your Rydia has some levels to cast those. You see that it is a Doot behind the Baron, and it is a punchy Doot. 4 of them just got one shot.
Palom is not.
Yeah, Paladin's unfortunately not helpful here because Paladin absorbs all the elements. Paladin would need Virus to do anything useful here, and can't. Silkwebs would help us here if we had them.
Twin magic all the way, but probably be delayed until Palom is upright. It's one of those times where if you do some shopping and you have some Silkwebs, this would be the place to be because you need a little. Goldenshocker is going to find out this is not the monster to do that magic with.
Nope, it's going to actually set him back quite a bit. And took out Palom. I think this is going to be a reset on this one. Soak ups are very nice. They aren't guaranteed, however, in every seed, so you may not find them.
Well, there's always the white mage. If I'm trying to think, do we have? I feel like we just probably just use the dancing dagger all day, every day, just and for Palom. That would probably be the thing.
It might have worked. I mean, really, if this Kane was in the back row, but the poison tick got Kane. If Kane was in the back row and there wasn't the poison going, he had enough defense where that Paladin was not going to be able to really hurt him because you saw a lot of 1 damages there. Being in the front row, it is a bit more vulnerable. I'm going to try it again.
Yeah, sometimes early, like a lot of runners don't care because it's like you're early up. That spot does punch pretty hard, and I think that at least picked up at least a piece of the Dragoon armor set, so that should let Kane live.
Yeah, Kane is wearing some Dragoon pieces, so I mean he is totally fine. Oh, gets it off this time without the poison, so that should be enough, I think, to get through this. I mean, it'd be a little bit safer for Kane if he was in the back, just because we do have the Dwarf Axe. He is back road, so I mean, you leave him in the center.
Yeah. I think this is the part where the tiara, where you think, hey, Rita should be wearing it. No, a Porum would be safe. She wouldn't be sort of dragon protection outside of like the crystal ring, and I don't think anyone has picked any of that up.
No, we haven't seen crystal rings or really any rings. I think that would really help the party out. Diamond rings are actually very, very nice. You find them early because they're defensive, and it can give a nice little bit of help if your mage is early. Or Yang, because Yang is also a bit like a mage in terms of his physical defense. XFalgran is going to show us that we have tents and life pots here in the Haggard Inn, and this is a hook route, it looks like. Haggard is a place you might not actually bother to check, and it's got the value today.
Buy the tents. Life potions are if we raise prices. You know the demand for life potions increase when you instead of the proper option of using cure twos. That's how supply and demand works. Demand your character live longer, and life potions go up in price.
Well, we have Iridia now, and the reward for picking up Iridia is we get to burn down her village. Seems a little bit dark, but the seed has some jokes today.
I feel like I know there's a character check. I feel like maybe just worth checking if an edge comes, but if it's not an edge, don't bother.
Well, we'll see what's here. If it's an Eddy, I think you definitely just walk away. I might take a Cecil here if a Cecil shows up. Well, what do you know?
You got what you wish for. A Mount Ordeals check to follow.
Even if I don't have a Cecil, I think I do try and check Ordeals most of the time. We do have a Demus hunt going on, and I've had bad luck fading Ordeals in the past. Like, sometimes it works out, sometimes it is really a bummer to fade that check. And it's like, yes, I know it's about 4 or 5 minutes, but at the same time, it just seems that it has value more often than not.
Well, it looks better in this context, even without knowing the Cecil being here, to get like, it would have sped up that fight with the Pale Dim. Like, getting those early levels, especially on Palom, to get Virus. You don't have to have Quake to be effective. Just Virus, because few bosses that cannot be quaked. So having Virus is stable spell that it is for most of the early to mid game can be very valuable. So it's probably one of those things. Hey, I need the experience. Ordeals is just there. Might as well.
Yeah, now this Paladin on Falgren's side looks like the K is doing more damage, but at the same time that K is taking a lot more damage, so does not have the Dragoon armor on. This could be a little bit dicey, although Falgren did buy the Cure 2, so hopefully we can get a Cure 2 off here before the Eldem strikes again. We got a Cure 3 off. That works.
Hey, that rum buffering helped. Sacrifice one ATB tick to get the character's ATB going is probably worth the trade-off. Still, and trying to rum buffer it just to get the jump off. So that's, that is knowledge worth saving.
It paid off. Falgren got through. Makes up a little bit of time because got through it in one try. Well, Yang has apparently decided to change sides here. He is LARPing as the Baron Guards today. Or Kaipo Guards. Baron Kaipo.
Next, I think, I mean, he has to be on the other side some of the time.
It's not really true of any of the other characters in this thing.
But if you're not speaking of Kane, that's fine.
Legally, there is a restraining order against talking against Kane. His lawyers got a little bit annoyed at the whole traitor thing.
It's Z's fault. It's always Z's fault. That's how this game came to be. Someone took a nap and thought Z was the best boss ever designed. That's came in and dreamed.
goldenshocker did find some silk webs in that inn that he was just over there for the Cecilin, so that's kind of worth the value and the time of going there. Just gonna check out the Silvira shop, see if we have a value here. Arvales.
Oh, this is valuable. Very valuable. I would have thought if you're really just strictly looking for item shops, you would just go to Troya, because you got to getting some of the stuff you actually want.
Our runners have been to Troya. Unfortunately, the Troya shops were not exactly stellar this time around. Falgren has also decided to burn the Village of Mist, so sorry, Rydia, you're going to be a one-of-a-kind in more ways than one today. goldenshockers decide it's time for the mountain.
I think goldenshocker is not itching to loot. I think probably settled, or probably will be content with maybe doing Castle Eblin to finish off the looting, because at this Falgren's done the looting. It's not, so I think for Golden's case it might work out better. Just in terms of how the writing is, because if Falgren's is going to be basically making a second trip to Castle.
Well, this first fight on Mount Ordeals is free. Not where you want to see this freebie though, because this is a very weak spot, and these guys are a joke no matter where they happen to be, other than maybe at the start of the game where they can actually kill a low HP party, but here, no.
I mean, when you have a negligible spell power, and if as part of the battle script, that it is one of the freest of all fights, more or less. But I think Golden probably wants to keep the Rydia. Sylph.
Yeah. Eldon there proving my point in getting an actual kill shot on this fight, which normally would not happen, but Rydia just doesn't have quite a lot of HP at the start.
Well, she does get spells. She does get the levels, but I think you got all the critical spells. You got Berserk, which will solve a lot of problems. You get Exit, and then Virus, and that's be relying a lot of that. Well, till Quake comes along, but that's fine.
Yep, we see an evil wall show up here. It's a little bit of a rude spot for it, considering how it attacks, and this is already a back row spot that gives it initiative. And Cecil is down. Yep, this is a good place for a silk web.
Think probably need to just do some twin and get some viruses going. Although I think with the Zerk probably wants to get Kane online and then and once that Zerk is going, then her turn's gonna be for twin. So basically some free turns.
Yep, that virus is a nice 1,000 chunk off. Twin gas coming up. And the wall has gone down. So now we get to see what Porum gets to face off against mano a mano here. Hopefully it is not something terribly rude.
There are some that are terribly rude. And it's hard. I mean, each time is different. Probably worth a save, and it's helpful to have a decent weapon. Usually the power staff is usually a preferable weapon to have on her, or at least a decent bow and arrow, just in case.
Yeah, I think for a Porum at this level, the rudest thing to see here would actually be the alt gauntlet if this is where it happened to be hiding. Because that is a lot of things. There's not a whole lot of AoE, and yeah, she doesn't have a whole lot of HP either. Let's see what it gives us.
I think the worst part is she'd be the only one getting all the XP on top. Because it's a solo fight in the settings, but that is half of 4, so this is kind of mandatory.
Plague. This might actually be bad because Porum is probably going to that count's gonna go very, very fast.
I think the play should have been just use Star Veil immediately.
Unfortunately, yes. When it's Plague in here, usually the Star Veil has got to be your play.
Yeah, you'd have. I mean, outside of getting a decent bow, like you'd have a samurai bow. There isn't really much in the way of. I mean, you really just need. She would have to be essentially power overwhelming to a slight degree, maybe like another 5-10 levels, and definitely have to. And if you weren't wanting to just punch, use the bow and arrow. Don't even think about it.
Goldenshocker did turn on the battle speed to 3, which will give him more time to get these arrow shots in if that's the way he chooses to approach it. But if not, I'll use the Star Veil here as the safest course.
Yeah,
and that's what Golden's going to do here. So okay, good.
This should be it. You can't Zerk. I mean, the only way of playing a Zerk would be technically would be if it rolled, it would have to be gated under the cockle shop in the underground, and that's but that also means you need to complete the forge requirements. So that is.
I mean, Porum can berserk herself with the spell, but again, that's going to increase the damage. I'm not sure if you get enough turns to actually get this down in time.
Yeah, so I think you want the safety over the damage, because if the damage isn't there, maybe try to get a few levels, and that's any sort of even a miss is fine, because that Star Veil should reasonably hold for the length of the fight for them.
Well, actually, what you'd really prefer here is if it fell off, because then the plague was would actually count down and get to 0. As is, it's resetting the timer on itself, so you actually have to get through all the HP.
That's true, but
and it has added the timer has Star Veil's run out, so plague might just there it goes.
Yep, died.
It's actually a case where you might want to leave the battle speed timer back at 1, because then it would have ticked off faster. But safety is not a bad thing here when it's.
Well, yeah, you have to get it off first. If you don't get it off, it doesn't matter. It almost doesn't matter.
Go compromise battle speed too.
That is always I gotta try that. I know. Monsters is why 3 is the standard, the default for the game. So I gotta play around with 2 more. Just for the sake of. I don't know. I want to gauge my. I want to how worthwhile that is over one. I know it's got to be safer than one, but is it like closer to 3 safety? But I don't know. I gotta try that, and it's worth playing around battles. For certain bosses that you know who will test your knowledge and your agility knowledge.
Yep. Fulgrin has gone the same route as Golden here, but might actually have enough power to get through this, depending. We'll see.
Trying to buffer, but that's
it's through,
that's
though.
good enough. It's still good enough as long as the shot gets off before the double zeros. You're fine. You can't. Kill the
That's a
boss.
case of, though, a little better equipment on Porum, better arrows, and also being in the center slot to increase the accuracy, all led to that actually working out for him.
Yeah.
So,
Like even with the samurai, I think it was just a great bow, which is not really. It's kind of metal. You need all the accuracy on a bow just to get those multipliers and the damage that's required to remove the plague.
right, but being in the center slot actually add a good deal of accuracy, whereas Golden was not in the center, so didn't have that with the extra damage. We saw one of those arrow shots, was 400 and was 300, whereas Golden was not getting over like mid 100s pretty much. We have black robes here in the barren sewers. Stick that on Palom.
It's curious. I'm equipment on Porum is the wizard probably better on Porum. If I assume at this point she probably has one because Rydia. Well, it's best to call her emergency white mage, but her emergency white mage is a summon, and that depends on black magic, the wisdom stack. So that is I mean, it's good to have equipment, but
a difference here is, Fulgrin's Rydia has a tiara and also has the Sylph spell. So, she was doing healing on the evil wall we saw a few minutes ago. He's given her levels. So, if we get a Leviathan or Bahamut, that Rydia could make a real difference on Fulgrin's side.
Yeah, I was talking about the wizard robe. She's not a white mage. That was the point. Unless I guess the point is if she doesn't have extra multiplier.
Drum roll, please. Is this the gauntlet? It is the gauntlet. We have Senator Crocodile. Woohoo!
And electric fish are flying. Surprise is sometimes a surprise. Why monsters have properties, and it just seems like electric fish like to jump the shark, as they say.
Yes. So, in some of these Baron fights, the Thor Rage will actually get rid of the monsters for you, not the Electfish. They are strong against Thor Rage and will absorb it. Especially when it's in the inn, it can be really useful to use that.
And the Baigen spot and even the Kanaza spot are interesting selections, but they're classic alligator too.
Yes, it is a little bit funny that Baron has such aquatic creatures for its nobility, but apparently, when you're taken over by an evil guy doppelganging your king, I guess you get a whole lousy political class too. Now, the piranhas here, if you use the Thor Rage, they'll all go down one shot.
You have to remember that in vanilla, it was so it makes sense why the underground is what it is, why the barren waterway is like it is. Virus probably won't kill the aqua worm. Well, is the toughest of the monsters on the set. Just in terms of HP, not really a threat otherwise, but still needs a little bit of help to take it down.
That wave tickled.
Well, wave. So it's like only like a 20th, so it's like 5% of its HP, which of its current HP. So and this only matters when you see Kenazo as he's known for wave, and at high HP slots, Kenazo becomes just a horror as when you have like over 50,000, 60,000 HP, the damage it adds up quite a bit.
Yeah, Kenazo sitting at the element spot is not a fun day for anybody, when that turns out.
A giant requirement. Those become very interesting seeds sometimes, and sometimes it works out. But most time that go on. And
a really fun one is if you happen to have, let's say, your Demus is hiding at the second spot behind that turtle, and the Demus actually has something required, and it's like, oh, great. You might actually have a hard required turtle at that element spot sometimes.
Yes, boss gate.
Oh, well, we replaced the King of Baron with a computer today.
I mean, if it only can infect it with a virus, if only. I think the biggest the CPU fight is often it is just a slow fight because getting at the CPU can be very punishing. I don't think does goldenshocker have to pick up Scythe, because that is actually the perfect summon.
I want to say that the Sylph spell was actually on that Eblin castle that he looted through.
Because
we're talking about computers.
Some people are having a bad day. That is my understanding.
I tried to help my IT department out with that, but it's not my fault. They had the permissions set too high on my employee's computer to actually have me fix the problem.
No, you cannot do chmod 777 to everything. That bad things happen.
All you're trying to do is access a folder, and it's like, I can access it on my computer. It's like, oh, but I have higher permissions. That's why. Okay.
At least the damage is manageable on the attacker. Just HP based damage. Takes 10. It only does 10% of the your based off your. You need to be hit 11 times to fall over, but hey, learn Quake. So that's all Quake Kid is here for at this point.
Runners will high five as XFalgranX getting into the CPU, as goldenshocker is getting out of it. There is an edge here. You take the edge. I think you do.
I think I would have replaced the Cane, but
yeah, I would not take too much of it out. But
yeah.
I guess in this case, not having the Sylph or any good summons for her, I can understand it. I like slaying Rydia myself on these flags, but there's more than one way to get through a seed, of course. So we'll see how this plays out. I mean, Gold does is a statue also blocking his own wall. That seems kind of funny.
It's just it's a cute couple for the seed. It's a cute couple.
Well, that's a spicy couple there. That's a darkness crystal.
Well, I mean, we're not doing Force Hook or Force Magma, so if the Magma key's on the moon, I don't know. No, it'd be fun to bring this just to see how much fun.
The real choice here now with the two runners is you have 5 characters. You have a party that I think you could actually make your endgame party here. Between you've got up to 3 mages if you want. You've got Cecil, you've got Kane, you've got Edge for your physical choices. You have Ogre Axes and Poison Axes. You could easily grind this right now with the Mac Giants. And at 40 minutes in, we're about the right time to do it. Now, I don't know what's sitting here at Hook 1, but if this is a slow fight, it might make a difference if the one grinds and one doesn't.
The fact is the the only moon objective is the ribbon room. I would be tempted to just do the grind and then do the ribbon room. But I feel that would be a very spicy decision. Like if there were no objectives on the moon, you could probably still do the grind and just do the hook route. I feel like that's an opportunity. Whether we'll find out that the magma keys on the moon, or especially in the ribbon room, would be interesting. But I guess we'll find. We may or may not even.
What I would say here is, with the Darkest Crystal in hand, you've got 4 objectives you can get to at this point. I mean, as long as you clear up the hook route. You've got your King and Queen spots, you've got your Ribbon Room. You're looking for basically one of the Sand Ruby, the Rat Tail, the Pink Tail, or 2 of them actually, and then the
other part of
the
Forge.
Legend Sword, the other half of Forge. It's like you're 2 key items away from go at this point. Doesn't really matter which 2. The question is, do you take the ribbon early? Because, I mean, if you get the ribbon and you zonk out, you don't really want to have to come back to the moon, especially if you have to come back to the moon a second time. You might have to triple dip it if you don't actually get a pass somewhere in there. So, yeah.
Certainly, if you've already acquired the pass, then it's probably a much easier decision. I think right now it's just it's an outright gamble. But I feel like the pass would show. I feel like maybe just because I don't know, just luck. I mean, frankly, the rando be rando. The pass is in the pool of key items, so I would at least try. Just I don't know. I would at least gamble it, especially if you're doing the Mac Giant grind. You might as well. You're here, and you might as well.
We'll see. Right now, both of our runners are running into the hook route, going deeper in there. So we'll see if there's any backing out of there.
I think that right now it's just for the weapon of choice. Some whole diesel, I think, is the actual goal at this point. I mean, we're skipping Castle Upland for the trap chests there, so might as well here like.
Oh, remember though, because of the changes to the tier loot, you can't find anything good for Cecil here other than a light sword or a defense sword. Because the holy swords have been taken out of the pool. There's no X-Scales, there's no crystal swords in the earth, no matter what you happen to do with the monster boxes.
I thought the limit was specifically for untrapped chests, but if that's extended to the pool.
Well, I think the monster boxes actually go as far as tier 6, but they can't go to 7 or 8. On the earth anyways. You have to go to the LST ones with the high.
Yeah, they've definitely been readjusted. That I do recall, and I think Golden has stumbled onto the infinite enemy known as Inventory Boss, where you've hoarded out all the things. It's time to get rid of this. There is some junk there, so it is a good time to dump as many things.
Well, it looks like both of our runners are going to give this hook route a try, and we'll see how this plays out for them.
The nastier of the spots is usually a King Queen Evelyn spot. Simply especially if there's a punchy boss like, say, Antline, who has yet to show up in the seed, I think. And there are other monsters that, if they're punch heavy, that might prove problematic for the seed. And this is
punchy, but there's ways around this because you have Star Veils. I think both the runners did actually find some and purchase some extra. So with Ashura, you can just do a Star Veil on yourself and then reflect the Star Veil onto Ashura, and then as long as we have the damage to get through it, it's not bad. I mean, we have a Mute Dagger for Kain. We can just put that on him and jump with it if we need to.
I mean, this match is more punch heavy, but the thing is that Azure is start.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of like a behemoth, really. Well, although behemoths will still punch you, but they're really very slow. This is when Azure is when you're ready. Go ahead.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a very fast spot. Not like a behemoth at all. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is
and
a
he's
yeah.
gonna reset it. Uh, I'm still not sure why the order is being left the way it is, where the Cecil's in the front row and we've got 3 characters in the front. Because really, the only character we really need in the front to do any damage, I think, at this point is Edge.
If I'm thinking, if I'm thinking about this, I'm uh, to use to pay to make sure that Palm is one picked, but I don't think at this point you're not going to be using Twin. You have Quake, so it's not even so. The point is moot. You probably shouldn't. You just want to have your twins in the back.
I mean, even if you were
Doesn't
trying to
matter.
arrange the order for the twins, I mean, you would still, I think, want to change the party order and then put the twins in slots 2 and 3 instead of 4 and 5. If
Yeah.
you're looking for it, but I don't think you really need. I mean, we've graduated from Twin. You're not going to use it anymore at this point in time. Um, I mean, I would want to put the Cecil in the back row so that there's a chance at least that you can cover effectively.
Yeah. See, so I think with if you have the mute knife, Edge is the perfect choice. Is the perfect character of choice. Even if he dies, you can still make him. You can still revive him and make him attack, or at least re-zerk him. Zerking him probably shot. I think, given even at the level he's at, but 2 shot. It would be two. It would be a 2 shot. And with Falgren not having a mute knife, I think was that picked up or bought? Because
It was definitely
slight
picked
advantage.
up. I just don't remember exactly where it was from. All right, so Golden is down through this Ashura. And now the reward for that is you get either a quarter leg or a full leg. Anyone certain.
Saving at this point, especially even though you think you're fighting immediately. No, you can just you see the message. Edge gets the spells. You can
Ooh,
move
okay.
back.
Golden is taking a chance. It is the elements. Okay.
I think if we get to the ruby spot, Edge would probably just murder. Might be able to murder. But have to get the Zerk out on. Have a shot at that.
Yeah, now with elements, one of the fun things about elements is it only has about half the HP in its pool to start with. And if you use reflect strats, you can actually reflect all the spells you want onto it without triggering it to change forms. Palom knows Fire 2, so bluff a few Fire 2s, grab a Star Veil, reflect it off, and you might get a one-shot on this thing.
That Blizzard Spear isn't going to help immediately. The element, unless you have the boss that is on the screen, you will be doing half damage. So you don't have a matching element outside of Val. You don't have a matching elemental weakness. And, oh no! Don't swap it out. You want that? No.
Yeah, Ruby is actually a mage in this particular fight, so I think that is actually very good. Now, I think Kane will get through it with
Yeah,
the
that wouldn't have.
Blizzard
Yeah,
here,
that wouldn't have.
because the danger with Ruby on the Elements fight is that after Fire 2, it'll use Fire 3, and then it'll use Glare on the whole party, and that's just not a good time.
Yeah. Glare is essentially. But it's a little bit stronger, but it's fire element, at least, and it's fire elemental, so it's a really strong spell. So having Glare split, even the split is still pretty.
Meanwhile, with that lack of mute knife for the fight for Falgren, Falgren has decided to dip out and is now going to do the grind.
Yeah, I mean that was an option. Those are decisions, and I'm sure going watch what the race. I'm sure there'll be second thoughts, but yeah, that was the opportunity, like the opportunity to do dark mind, or even just look at the character, just maybe to swap one more out if you felt that your party isn't what one you want. That would have been on the table.
Yep, and it looks like we're not going to get a check with the Dead Lunar Dias character from Falgren, so probably happy with the party he has right now. I'll go to Baron, do the manipulation to get the fight that he needs in the Giant.
So
The way this game is programmed, there's a step count manipulation you can do when you restart the game. It has a certain encounter seed table in there, and you just have to figure out, because some of our runners did this when we turned off the ability to run from fights. They figured out, okay, this is the sequence of fights to get you the grind you need. There's a chart, and Falgren's going to use that chart and try to find this fight in just a couple minutes.
if started in FF1 itself, if you wonder why runners reset all of a sudden because they got a fight too early, or not the fight, the step. This is the exact reason why they do it. You can, when you know what the step chart is, you know exactly what encounter that
Yeah, now one of the challenges with getting the Mac Giants is, since they're not a very common fight, there are definitely seeds where the searcher fight that you need in the Giant is not going to show up in any sort of reasonable amount of time. So I think in this particular chart, just take a look at it. You might have to go through up to 7 encounters on Baron before you actually have the thing set up right. If it takes more than 7, I think the runners are sort of like, you're not gonna get there in time. Just reset it. It's probably faster.
I mean, your alternative is to actually be in the Giant and do nip there.
That is true. That can be done. It's a little bit risky because this is a fairly squishy party. You might end up getting them killed.
I mean, if you're wiping, you're resetting anyways at that point. You're not getting it's, but yeah, those all counters is that you're dependent on the when the searcher that summons the monster always appears alone, so you don't know what the monster is for that fight. And that's what makes it a little bit difficult. So you're and especially because we want the Mac Giant, we don't want D Machine, which is
I think if you take it on the right floor, the searcher will always just appear with the Mac Giants on that particular floor. I think it is it's the floor before the passage. I forget whether that's the stomach or something else, but that's the floor you want for guaranteeing when the searcher shows up, it is the fight you want.
and some searchers come with beamers, but I don't remember what monsters come with what monster is usually summoned for that formation. There's always it's one of those tables.
I think it's built in. It depends on the floor. I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The searchers come with different things depending on which floor you're on. All I know is that on the one floor, it is only Mac Giants. It's guaranteed if it shows up. So it's like, woohoo! I like it when it's easy. Also, shout out to all the wonderful people who actually create and maintain these things, because yeah, that makes our lives a whole lot easier when we're runners.
And we know that's a free fight in the Water Hag, but is that what we really want to fight? Yeah, I think that's going to be a reset soon.
It's free-ish because you should get 3 hits off in time before the Water Hag destroys you. And unfortunately, with everybody getting 477, that's going to be a one-shot to pretty much all of them. So we got to hope that this goes off quick. There's 2 hits.
Well, if the Water Hag hits Porum, you're fine.
If it hits Fallon, you might not be fine.
Well, that should be instant, so that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it will get off. Okay. A little bit of drama here down the Fey March.
At least the fortunate thing is the experience here is actually kind of terrible. Though I think that's Baigen, and that spot isn't too bad. It will be challenging for even attempting this.
We've got Kane gear, White Spear. We also have the objective now of the King being defeated. I'm going to say no to Queen Baigen because that is not a fun day.
Well, I mean, not as strong as Dark Imps in a sense. Dark Imps are essentially the same. Daigen, kind of surprisingly, has one, which is usually the right hand, which is on the left, on your left visual, because you know when you're staring at a character from the front, you are seeing them from the opposite side. So if you get rid of the part of the front road, it's kind of it's one of those quirks in the game where how the game determines what is in the front row. I'll put it that way.
It is a well-programmed game. Falgren has apparently found the searcher he wants, so there we go. And is going to YOLO this. Okay. We do have Cecil in the back row. Will eventually cover us. That's going to work out okay.
It's fine. We'll probably spend a turn changing rows. Porn probably won't get the chance, but it'll be fine. It's a reason.
Porn, we don't really need a live for this anyways. We just need to make sure that at some point Cecil is covering everybody else who actually matters. Oh, we have a free cover on Edge. Thank you, Mac Giant. Okay.
It's fine. It is. If I'm not sure, there were silk webs. It is worth picking up silk web if you want to reduce the punishment the Mac Giants have. Like you want to reduce the opportunities it has to punch you. Slow is persistent beyond death, although it can be healed.
In this case, there is persistence because the Mac Giant will occupy the same slot as the one that just went before it. So the game doesn't actually reset the stats of that slot in this case. It would be a little bit different, I think, if it was actually like an enemy changing like a different thing entirely. Cecil is kind of low. Okay.
Probably just want. I mean, you want to get the free hits, but you have to keep Cecil upright to cover for the most part.
Yes, and Orb could be helping us with some blinks. She doesn't know blink, right?
What is that?
I mean, 398 is kind of low, so maybe she doesn't. I don't know.
Well, at least using the life glitch, wonderful glitch for grinding even in vanilla. Simply put, a monster can be targeted with a life potion before it dies, and when it dies, life potion does thing, revives the spot, but nothing appears because the life potion depends on a vitality that target is given, and because monsters have no vitality, 0 times whatever is still 0.
And unlike certain other games, this game decides that when your HP is 0, you actually are not a zombie, you are just simply dead. Palom is out of MP. One has found Baron guards in the wrong castle, in the dwarf castle here, and is going to see if this dwarf castle check is going to pan out. We'll see what the latest dwarven fashion is on Luca.
But I assume it probably was a dupe, but wasn't desirable at this point. So at this point, the unit ready is irrelevant. I mean, although for this in this version of Free Enterprise, Bahamut is actually in that table of possible summons after completing the
yes, that's true. But without Rydia in the party, I don't think you're going back for it if you've already dismissed her. I didn't see what the spell list was.
But we're doing tower
Oh.
because we got the tower key.
Yeah, 2-for-1 deal here. And apparently Niruka is telling us that the Dwarf Castle had no characters in it whatsoever. Moving along.
This there's a Thunderclaw somewhere, but
There
not
was a Thunderclaw somewhere. I know we did see one.
but I don't think we have anything to back row glitch edge with. You would need a boomerang.
We did actually see boomerangs. They were for sale in the Eblin shop.
Vanilla. Strange enough, yes, that is where it's actually sold. So, yeah, that did have, but I don't think Edge would have contributed. You don't have a. I mean, if it's not a Thunderclaw, you'd have to basically have Masa and Mura, and I think that Edge is just a Mura at best. So not much, especially not having the back row glitch.
I mean, you could put him in the front row. The problem is in the front row,
He gets punished. Yeah, it's someone has to be in the front row.
you would want Cecil covering him to solve that problem.
That fight is.
Oh no!
That's even worse.
Oh, that feels bad.
Sometimes in these flags they have no can't run, like no run, but we can't. But this is a regular fight, and we don't. And that can't run flag isn't enabled. That is a lot of time consumed. So that actually gives goldenshocker an opportunity to quite a bit of an opportunity here, because normally if you complete that grind without too much fuss, oftentimes the run. They're often in the driver's seat getting that grind done.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times the recommendation would be grind as early as you can. The flip side is if you are not actually prepared for the grind, either with the equipment or with the consumables, it can actually turn out worse than just simply trying to power through the underground, try to level up a little bit on the underground. The big difference in this flag set is Nashura in the way on the hook route. Golden had the anti-mage gear to get through it. Falgren didn't, just because of where the difference was in looting, and that is a bit of rando gonna rando. It feels kind of bad. Usually there's anti-mage gear along the way, like elven bows, mute arrows, rune axes, mute knives, something. And occasionally it you might shop for it, and occasionally the seed decides to punish you for it.
It's just a matter of opportunity and chance, as they say. That is life.
It is a randomizer, so it's kind of one of the things that every racer lives in dread of. You could play a perfect seed, and if you make one wrong fade or one chest that you didn't loot and your opponent did, and it is exactly what you need, well, we've all had those races where it's sort of like, you did 10 checks more than the other guy, and it's like, well, yeah, but they did the one check that mattered.
There's that flip side where someone, like in a community race, where just that has happened before. Not it's not a frequent thing, but sometimes you can do everything right, and someone else did something like skipped. I mean, it flops, and then it just works out for them. It happens.
I mean, occasionally it's like someone will just get the darkest crystal. They'll be like level 20. They'll dive the moon. It turns out all the moon altars are free, and they win. It doesn't happen often, but if your moon consists of King Queen Eblin and Water Hag and Hippo Guards and all the other freebies, it's like, well.
just caught learning Cure 3. Ironically, she learns Cure 3 the same time Pelham learns Fire 3 at the same level. I think Pelham's experience growth is higher, like slightly more, but it's like slightly. It's like under 100 for a little bit difference at some point. Like they're twins, despite them being twins, their XP curve is actually slightly different and not actually the exact.
It's kind of funny how the programmers decided to do this for levels that they probably never thought that anyone would ever actually get to, since these two are not in the party very long. And just the fact they have a complete spell table up to, you know, Nuke and White Life 2 is just kind of impressive.
Except for Yang, he gets the 6,000 HP. He gets screwed. That's what it is. Yeah, Yang up to 6,000 HP for reasons who knows. It generally doesn't matter because in most seeds you won't get Yang to that much HP, and by then he'll punch his way to victory anyways.
Oh, there's a legend sword from the tower key from the cannons. That's value for golden. That'll be a third objective. I'm sorry. And yeah, speaking of Yang, I actually ran a practice seed of this recently where I not only was my Yang at the 6,000 HP mark, but Yang got several more levels after the 6,000 HP mark.
Well, stats at least still increase, at the very least.
Yang was a very angry punch mage against Z in that particular fight.
I actually like that.
Oh, this feels so bad for Fulgrim. There are sirens in the shop. So this grind is not actually going to save him any time because Golden can just simply buy a whole bunch of eggs.
Time to scramble some eggs. Probably should buy. Probably you have to have the tiara. Don't need the heroine, as that will. While oftentimes we speak in heroine robe in pause. This Porum is the hero. This is probably not ideal to speed everything up.
If you really want a fast seed, and you know, heaven knows we've actually had a bit of a slow seed here with some of these obstacles in our way. Yeah, throw a heroine robe on her, throw a Nirvana staff on her, and go to town.
I mean, those are fun seeds when you get to use the heroine robe. Those are great seeds, oftentimes.
We're gonna buy a bunch of sirens. Looks like 15 of them.
Well, I mean, I think it's been said 30 sirens in a dream or something, something like that. I like 20.
Yeah, 30 sirens in a dream has definitely been done if you get there early. Now, sometimes runners will decide, it's like, do I want to take one more track to maybe hopefully get that 10th key item? I don't think we have anything really terribly easy on the table here because looking at what we've got here, only choices are that Amar, Queen Spot with the Baigan, and the Moon. Or maybe trying to find a cheeky D-Mist over at... We haven't seen the D-Mist yet, have we?
No. If we did, we would have been over it.
Yeah, it could be still hiding in either the Mist Cave or the Waterfall, since neither has been checked yet. It would be a bit ironic if it is sitting in one of those two locations, or if it's sitting at Zot 1. It had something of value the whole time, like it could have a rat tail or a sand ruby.
Well, we might know, or we might never find out. I think that's just doing this is the safe bet. Just getting the grind done now. May not have. I don't think you have to do all the way, like get to Nuke for Pelham, but maybe get it in the upper 40, mid 40s is good enough, because you're.
Oh, okay. The Feymarch freebie was a sand ruby, so actually, Golden's in go mode and has been for a bit here.
Then just
because all he has to do is take the queen out of the town of monsters, turn in that sand ruby, and go to the ribbon room. So yeah, as soon as Golden did that tower and got the legend sword out of the cannon room, that was go. So very fortuitous to find the sirens in the shop, because that is taking out a whole giant /moon grind.
I mean, the grind happened one way or the other. It just happens to be a different one. I like scrambled egg grinds. These are fun.
It's kind of amazing to me how often I have seen the sirens show up in these seeds. This is not even the first seed of the live tournament play where we've seen sirens, I don't think. And I've had 2 practice seeds that had sirens in the shop. It's like, this is at least the 4th time I've seen this happen.
able to steal sirens in the seed? I know we have Edge. I'm trying to.
You can't steal sirens in this seed.
It's gotta be bought. Okay, store bought. I know there's a siren flag that I do remember exists. So
yes. No, what we have on here is the no J flag for the treasure chest, so you can't get any J items from either the chests or from the monsters. The only way you're gonna see them in a shop is if it's in the coal shop. That is the only one that can sell sirens.
Oh, then that also means no J item drops as well, right? Because normally
the only J items you will see in this seed come from the shops, which again are fairly limited. You have exits, you have Thor rages, you have star veils. There is a chance I think you can see some vampires, some illusions in some of the higher end shops. You're not going to see most of your J items. I mean, Bacchus wine only in the Coal shop, hourglasses only in Coal. And same thing with the sirens only in Coal, and Coal can usually have I think 4 items show up in the shop, so it's not very common to see.
Generous. Yeah, it's not not just that. You can't expect miracles, and you can't expect the forge to drop so early. Something like forge requires a moon trip at the very minimum, and when you can do forge early, it can be kind of game.
Sometimes the seed is nice and gives you both magma key and the forge on the overworld. And it's a character like Sid or Bane, where it's like, hi, here's an avalanche 50 minutes into the seed, you're welcome.
Those are memorable seeds. You roll enough seeds, you almost get classic seeds to remember.
Well, I certainly roll some classic seeds here and there, but they're not memorable for that kind of reason.
Well, memorable is equally good and bad. That's how you. That's how.
I think someone said it was better to have your seeds be feared than loved. So.
Very true. All this stuff. We can all talk. We can all record that free enterprise is on. This where all the fun we chatter about about horrible or wonderful seeds. Entertainment or just for practice because people do practice free enterprise because the randomizer can be hard when you make it.
As while our runners are finishing up their grinds, again a shout out to Radio Caller doing for seed on Restream, and again thank you to Nirocod for pushing all the buttons in the background, our wonderful racers Falgren and goldenshocker for giving us a entertaining Friday night out. And to Deathlike for joining me on the comms booth. Go and give all of our runners and helpers a follow. The Twitch links are in the chat. And if you feel like you want to get into some free enterprise or poke around the community a little bit, we have a Discord, which is I'm sure linked there in the chat somewhere. And feel free to sign up, do some races, find out more about the free enterprise. Games at work, because we have lots of people who are willing to help out and answer any questions you might have. Very friendly, and it's a fun time.
And there's certainly resources like the free enterprise wiki and a lot of the things that have been mentioned on stream regarding this game. So feel free to drop by.
Looks like Falgren, meanwhile, has stopped this searcher and is trying to kill it, so it looks like the grind might be over. Poor needs glasses.
It's not fair. You give her a great bow. You cannot do...
A great bow and an off slot, so yeah. Alright, we've gotten 22 levels, looks like, on our Palom. That should be enough to get through to... It's like Psych. Don't have anybody in slingable territory here.
I mean,
Oh,
not
that
much,
could-
yeah, not much could be done regarding the slingshot. I think at this point, especially when you wanted all the in with.
Yep. All right. So, did not get Cure 4 on the forum. Yeah, turns off encounters. That's a good thing.
Yes. Don't. When you do your grind, you gotta turn it off.
You have concerns about your brain when I say Porum needs glasses and you hear Lisa needs braces. I cannot help with that particular scenario. Alright, Golden is done with the grind with the eggs. The Blue Planet Fish and Wildlife Service is probably hot on Golden's tail for all of the rare dragons that just got killed. Dental plan is being mentioned in chat. Yes, I actually just signed up for my own dental plan today, come to think of it. That was fun. A dentist probably shouldn't be laughing in the background, but your mileage may vary.
Yeah, I would love.
Please.
I would love to use dentist jokes, but I think it'd be too painful to think about. Was it laughing gas or knockout gas or some sort of gas when it comes to dentistry?
All right, look, we're gonna give you a drill so you can drill for some jokes. Speaking of drilling for jokes, we've got a Vigan here on Golden's side here.
I mean, this shouldn't be too bad. I mean, most of the work will still be done by Quake as
well, you know,
waste their turns.
In the weird world of Free Enterprise, apparently you rip someone's arms off with Quake, and those arms go back, then you rip them off again.
I mean, look, they're low, very, very, very low to the ground. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. You know that they say that like in like wrestling, you have to be low to the ground, like the wins. I think it's football too, but like this is kind of the same way, except Quake is good for shaking things up.
If being low to the ground was a way of getting a lot of power, that doesn't explain Edward and Rydia and half the seeds we run for Enterprise.
Sometimes it's being on the ground for sometimes.
You have that Vigan down.
Yeah. But not in hero seeds though. So.
Comms are filling time. We are filling time. Because time needs to be murdered. It's not objective, but we definitely have it on the list.
We got the pink tail. We can turn. Oh, we still can actually turn in. So that's one less thing to do.
Love you too, Rydia. Thank you.
Are we trying to buy some other stuff? I thought I thought we were done. So we're gonna finish our grind. I think that would be the only reason to do this. I guess it's nuke ready time.
Well, you know, our runners don't often get the chance to go nuclear, so it's like when they do, it's time. I guess we're not quite there yet, so we're gonna burn a couple more eggs. Golden bought 7 more.
Hey, the great thing about Porum, although Rosa has it better, but she learns white before life too, and that is kind of nice. Though, if I recall correctly, white is at 52. That has it good, unfortunately.
I believe that's right, and Cure 4 is at 48.
Yeah, so probably we'll want at least Cure 4, but with the extra key item now it's double XP, which is
Oh, there's Medio for Palom, so Palom needs 2 more levels to go at this point.
I mean, this is at least is a legit. You want to have the cure. You want to have cure for as the essentially the Porum safety net. It's not as important for Rosa, although Rosa learns cure for much or a little bit. No, not a little. It's actually
a lot earlier.
Yeah,
A lot earlier. And Glue, no. Golden does not hate eggs. Golden loves eggs. He has eaten more than 20 in this seed, I think.
I mean, you gotta scramble some eggs. It's part of a balanced diet.
It's actually part of a balanced grind. Not a diet. It's a balanced grind. I like coffee grinds, but Anyways, I might be calling it a little bit short of nuke there if we're just waiting for the room to get us to the last tick here.
So yeah, probably will not need to do the turn-ins, and they'll probably will still have to do the long LST walk. I don't. Keys are terminal, so they won't get you another key item.
Right, but there could be something nice here, like an X-Cal or a Crystal Sword, or what else would we like to see here, maybe, with the characters we have? Maybe a Stardust Rod? And the mystery item today is Dragoon Lance.
At this point, it's a side grade. White Spear is the strong.
Yeah, White Spear is better for Kane, and his number 2 is Defense Sword. So this Dragoon, if Z was a dragon, it would be nice, but Z is not a dragon, along with other things that are not dragons in Free Enterprise, even though they look like them. So Golden is just going to wake up our head character and then go to the moon.
Probably a duplicate. Not this. I mean, Fu's not part of the seeds, so there is no character you want to pick up anyways.
You must have marked it right there, near God, because this is the 6th objective. Golden is done.
Well, time for the LST walk and the Thunderclaw, of course. Oh yeah, just in case. Just in case.
Well, that Yang is a little bit too late to join the party then.
No, it's more of the Thunderclaw for the Mac Giant grind.
Oh, well,
Ice for Falgran.
Okay, so Golden is going to walk down the LST, might take the ribbon room if he still needs a little bit of experience for the party. I don't know if he does or not. I kind of don't remember seeing where everyone got to the right levels.
No, they got to Nuke and White. That's all that matters. Yeah.
That is all that matters.
I do expect to see hybrid strats used. So just Zerking. Probably won't be using White, but probably using some reflect bounced off nukes.
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, you could do a reflect straight off of this because I believe Golden did not toss the spoon earlier on. What you could do is you could have Edge toss the spoon, get 10k damage essentially off of that. And then you could have maybe a little bit of contribution from Cecil and Kane for a turn or two, and then just reflect your White and your nuke, get to your 65k without triggering the refill. It's not the best solution maybe, but it is probably workable, especially if Golden has some silk webs around to slow this down.
The worst, I think some silk webs were bought. I think that White is usually the one that kind of skews full reflex strats because of the delay. Nuke is instant, Virus is instant. I mean those are wonderful spells on their own right. But White is like it's especially if the White Mage is doing something nothing better to do, then White looks great. But most of the time your White Mage is all generally occupied doing something else.
Sid is pretending to be an old man on the moon.
I mean, someone has to be. It's just the way it is.
If it's Rydia, that doesn't make any sense, but we'll ignore that and move along. Golden is going to go and dive the LST. Is just going to save all of the monsters on the side and not take anything down here. No boxes. Okay, yeah, no boxes, no encounters, just straight to the save point.
I mean, it's better to have the safety save. The walk is it's of reasonably lengthy, and and it's actually worse when you don't. It's an experience.
All right. While Golden is walking down here, Falgren has taken out the king spot and is now taking out the queen spot. That'll be objectives 2 and 3 on his side.
I'm surprised we haven't picked up a better weapon. I think I still see a poison axe. I think on Cecil, which is not the one of.
Well, I mean, for Cecil, I mean, since we haven't been to the moon, the best we could possibly get is the light sword or the defense sword. We just haven't seen it.
Hey, weapons of mediocrity and specialty, and that just makes Kane better at this juncture. Not literally, but more figuratively. It's like he's. I mean, when your weapon kind of limit is
well, I mean, it depends on your play style. If you're gonna dive the LST more often than not for your grind or for other things, Cecil is a good offensive choice possibly, because you're probably gonna find a holy sword somewhere down on the moon. On the other hand, Kane gets to his best weapon a lot easier than Cecil does. I tend to think of Cecil as mostly a meat shield on his flag set. Like, he will cover you, he will take all the damage for you, makes a mag grind a little bit easier because he can just cover everything. Offensively, it's like kind of stinks.
It's about the. I mean, if you're saying this Kane, you at least you still have a role, yeah, and it's.
Yeah, we have some Z flags showing up in chat. What is that all about?
I think it's late and we need to go to bed.
Well, if you go to bed before we actually get to the final boss here, I don't think we can pay you for the night.
No, it's that time where we get to Z gets to cosplay something else because you know forms after using crystal, and you know it's always and you know Z likes to be pretty. And I guess I'll let you have asking the question.
Well, since we can't really move Z around anywhere else, we've come to the compromise that we are just going to randomize what Z looks like. So the question is, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
And associated questions, does it even...
Well, I guess that has a butt. I don't think it would be called cute. And any of our audience under the age of 30 might not quite understand what this reference is about.
Yes, is it one of the wasn't his thing? I don't remember if that was the case. I believe it was, wasn't it?
This guy was an internet meme back in the day when I was in college, which was more than 20 years ago.
I feel like his video, the stuff made was in Flash, and Flash is deprecated.
Well, not only that, but as I recall, he also used something called the A drive, which again, most of our audience under a certain age has never heard of an A drive.
The floppy disks, them be fragile. Well, shouldn't
If you don't know what a floppy disk is, please look it up on Wikipedia or other encyclopedias of ancient things.
they were useful, but they were also terrible. That's all I get to say. So I think we've nerfed the first big thing. If we didn't nerf it, it would there'll be massive damage. The first big bang is nerfing is virtually free. You just need to do any form of magic on it. So typically the silk web, even
Well, you can't use a summon, and you can't use the white spell, I don't think, directly on it. Most spells will work, but certain ones have bad effects.
yeah, there are punishing things, but you can do most things, which most of the time probably don't have white. So that's poor. That's you. Well, though obviously our poor and this seed has white, but most when you don't usually worry about casting white on Z. It's usually no good thing.
Well, we don't direct cast white on Z. We can certainly reflect cast white onto Z because this game, when you reflect a cast, there's no reaction against it. Remember, if you're in a fight with your sibling, always make sure that you basically reflect your attack onto your sibling, and then the sibling can't retaliate. It works, trust me. Ogre has turned into Pink Tail. You've got a Shake from Strong Bad.
And we'll go do the ribbon room because that is the only thing as we know as the other part of the tower key, which is from Dwarf Castle, and many a runner has known to avoid Dwarf Castle, seeing usually not much value. But today this seed, at least for gold.
Well, I mean, it is possible that it is faster to take that particular encounter in the ribbon room. The problem is, in this case, the early and free grind, more or less, was from the Dwarf Castle into the Forge Shop, which had the Sirens. And that really made a big difference in this race because, I mean, Valgren decided to take the grind fight twice because of a bit of a bank in the first time around. It's like, you didn't really need to actually take that grind in this flag, or this seed, because it was just the longer fight by far. It all depends if you check the Dwarf Castle or not.
But it's kind of mount ordeals for the underworld in a sense. Like you don't want to do it unless you're gambling or you don't have much of a choice. And you option, but knowing that ribbon room is the guaranteed way, you're not checking dwarf.
This is true. Go is already in hand. We have rocks on Golden's side, so I think this is pretty close to GG for Golden.
Doesn't even need to reflect, but it's fine. We're good.
Sometimes the swag direct cast is nice to see, but you want to be safe with it sometimes, and this is going to be GG for Golden. Finished at about 134.12, looks like.
GG's to Golden.
Robbad is going to send a strongly worded email in his next internet broadcast, whenever that might happen to be. Check the internet archives for that. Blast from the past. And I believe we're going to be joined by Golden for an interview in just a moment here, so please stay tuned for that. As Falgren goes down the rest of the LST to finish off Ribbon Room and Z.
Wonder what the surprise is in the ribbon room. It's when you're doing a grind, I like. Oh, and
with that ding in the ear, we have goldenshocker. GG.
Yep, thank you.
So, when you got the darkness crystal before you dove underground, you chose to go straight through and do the hook route instead of, or you did your grind. Do you want to explain why you chose that particular route instead of going and doing your grind immediately?
I just didn't feel all that great about trying to do Mac Giant at that point. I only had that Ogre Axe at the time, so I was hoping to get like, I don't know, a few more levels, a little bit better equipment before I took the plunge on Mac Giant. I certainly thought about it, but I was thinking go underground. If I had to do like an egg grind, I could. Go figure, that was like the key to the seed. But um, with that being said, I just didn't feel comfortable doing it with just the Ogre Axe on Kane, and that was it, basically.
That makes sense. I mean, if you take it too early without the equipment, it can sometimes lead to problems. How happy were you saw the actual sirens in the cocoa shop meant that you didn't have to back grind at all?
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting that. I was like, I just bought the Poison Axe in March, and I was like completely ready to go as far as doing a giant grind at that point. Um, I was like, all right, well, sirens are here. I might as well just go for it. Uh, you know, once I saw it and I was like, oh, I could buy at least 15 or so. That's enough to get me pretty close. Uh, and that's pretty much all I needed to see at that point. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go for it and make it work.
Yeah, because I mean, you were in go mode after you got through with the super cannon room, and you had the what was it, the whatever item it was there. But yeah, you were done.
Yeah, I was. No, I
the-
was definitely doing that math in my head of like I just needed levels at that point, and then I was like ready to, just go and do Sand Ruby all the way up to the Ribbon Room. Um, yeah, I was certainly thinking about it, and kind of the rat or the pink tail kind of plopped on my lap at the end there, so I just went with that. But yeah, I was as soon as I saw that I had everything, I was grinding, trying to get levels, and then I was gonna go.
Yeah, it turned out you needed to do the ribbon room, which we're seeing on screen now from Falgren, is actually Rubicon. So that takes a little bit of time, even though it's not terribly dangerous with the spell power. Uh, Also, from chat here, Golden, Drinks Blue wants to know when you got that dog in you.
I mean, pretty much from the beginning. No, Glue is good people. And, met him originally in the World's Collide community, and I mean, he's definitely one of the best people around the community over there. So, happy to see him here.
Yeah, well, it's definitely fun to have Glue over here. I think he's helping us out a little bit with restreams as well. So, yeah. Um, any other thoughts for us, Golden, on the race or what you saw here?
Uh, I was actually, it was a little bit of a rough start. That was the thing that like I have a little bit of room to kind of get some things down. Like that Pale Dim fight, I wish I could have that one back. There's a couple things like that where I didn't sort out my menu a couple times. The Z fight, I was like scrolling down to the bottom to get nuke every time. Like there's some optimizations that I need to get down, but like overall, I mean, it was a good run. Definitely kind of RNG worked out in my favor with the Siren Grind, but yeah, overall, I was pretty happy with the run. Just looking forward to what comes up next here.
All right. Well, it was a good race, and thank you for volunteering for the restream. Death, do you have any other questions for Golden?
Only question I have is, what was this decision to do dwarf? Like, just I don't think there was anything outside of the getting the tower heap, which was critical in just getting one objective of getting the pink tail to not have it to do, or not the pink tail, the other half of forge.
I don't know if there was like a particular math involved. It was just I happened to buy all that armor at the weapon shop or at the armor shop there in Dwarf Castle, and I kind of made my party whole off of that armor shop. And I was like, at this point, like I just need key item checks, and I was kind of half thinking like it'd be nice to get the 10 key items if I was going to do a giant grind. So I was kind of half thinking of that, but also, I mean, that was just I don't know, race discretion. Just me going for something. I needed to do something. I needed like a check to think about what my next move was going to be, and that was kind of what I chose at the time because it was like right there. But yeah, it was pure luck that's how that worked out.
Well, luck is definitely a factor in a randomizer, and the luck went your way tonight for sure. So again, GG on a great race, and hopefully we see you again in a future round here. And best of luck.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thanks for the restream. Thanks to everybody that was involved, and happy to be involved in a tournament. First time in a long time for me. So really looking forward to see how this goes. But thanks again.
All right, thank you very much. And welcome to Flossie and Company. Please no spoilers, we're coming from a different race. This race is in the process of just wrapping up. Golden has won with 134.49 time. Falgren is on his way to Z and should be done relatively soon.
Frontier. I think they have. Although I don't think Falgren got the levels for Nuke. I remember. I felt like the little bit short, but I'm trying to remember. We'll find out soon enough. I think Pelham is about 1600. I think for Nuke.
That seems like it could be there, but I'm not sure.
I know Pelham is very likely to have Cure 4 for sure. The question is whether Pelham has Nuke, and that will only just kind of make the fight go a little bit faster at this point. But
we're being told by our tracker that Pelham died at the end of Ruby, so seems like does not have it.
Yeah, I think I did catch that fight. Yeah, that was a little unfortunate. You want.
But we're gonna have to write a strongly worded email to Ruby about all this rudeness.
I mean, legs got leg. Can't skip leg day. That's all.
You can skip leg day.
Would have skipped, but didn't. But would have had to do dwarf.
Or whatever the chain was to get the Luca key into the rat tail, from my being told by the Benuricot here.
I did see but I don't. But it probably would have had to do whatever in the ribbon room or something. It's just it could be behind a bigger chain. It's always after the fact.
There are some nasty chains to be sure that lead through the moon and then back to Earth. I think the worst of it would be is I'm seeing that there's you could have something like a twin harp into an earth crystal, into a Luca key, or even added the pan there somewhere. They didn't have a whole lot of key items in this seed. I mean, Golden only had 10 when finishing the game, and it looks like Falgren only has 8.
It's looks like 9. I'm counting 9. Still was one short.
The pass doesn't count.
Then I miscounted. I always pass on the tracker. It happens. It happens to.
Never mind. He does actually have 9. I forgot. The crystal actually has to be here because they're in Z. Yeah, it's not marked. I just didn't realize. Like, wait, you gotta have the crystal to win the game. So that's there.
Yeah. So. Well, see, I miscounted, but it wasn't highlighted. It's like it's not lit. I can't.
Yeah. So okay. But really, Golden had 11 and Falgren has 9. But still, that is a case of Forrest didn't find a lot of things in this seed. A lot of these are the key items that lead places. It's like Falgren didn't have the tower key, but yeah, we never saw a Luca key, never saw a pan, never saw a twin harp, never saw the earth crystal.
I mean, there's a key item checks on the table technically. Like done Sheila 1. To be
Sheila 1 is always something you never check it, and when you do check it, it usually isn't anything.
Until she has like 2 key items that she's holding on to.
It's always fun when she's holding onto the pan. You're trying to avoid the check until you find the pan.
People fade Fabul for that. Like I don't see that. I can understand fading, like the triple visiting Fabul. The two don't you'll.
Well, the triple dip always feels bad when that has to happen. I mean, double dip is acceptable. Triple dip is just, it's rude.
It feels bad. It feels bad every single time it happens.
All right, we're going to throw another strong web onto this silk web onto this strong bed. Oh my goodness, I can talk tonight. Not even 10 o'clock yet.
Very fortunate. Porm didn't get nuked because especially when none of the multipliers are evaded. I mean, can do up to 2400 at in a worst case scenario. So it's a yeah, that usually.
Okay, but look, I mean, Rydia is the sister of the nuke kid over here. She probably has a lot of practice dodging nukes that are being tossed around at playtime. And yes, Palin plays hard and dirty.
That is unfortunate. Not enough damage dealt to just even get to skip a big bang. So and
Yeah, and I think, let me see here. I think Falgren has forfeited the race. So GG. It was a little bit rough there with some of the way things went in that seed with that ruby and the palum, and
the grind. Yeah, there's
it was definitely a bit rough. But we are going to hear from Falgren. Here, Falgren is GG.
Oh, thanks, guys. Would help if I turned my microphone on.
up. You're on. You're on live.
Yeah, we got you.
There we go.
You're good.
There we go. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, that was definitely a seed to be sure.
You know, it's really great when you're almost complete with a Mac Giant, completely recoverable, and you go to run buffer, they give you a second to think, forgetting that, you know,
You can actually run, and it doesn't take that long to run away.
Yep. So
That was very unfortunate, and unfortunately, the seed has even more bad news, which you didn't actually find out about when running it yet. But there were sirens in this seed.
Oh no. Forge?
Yeah, in the forge, I think came through. Remember where the legend sword was? It might have been the tower? Was that it?
Had to be
Have
tower.
to get the tower key.
Tower key. Okay.
To get then to get the
And the tower key
was
tower key was from dwarf.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh man, I almost went and did dwarf too, but by the time I did king queen, I realized I had go mode.
Yeah, and you had already done your grind anyways.
Yep.
Golden, as it turned out, decided he didn't have the equipment to do the grind initially, so actually went down and did the hook route first, and then did the dwarf castle, found the forge before ever doing the grind. So then it's like just cooked a bunch of eggs.
Yeah, I mean the worst part too is the second one that I discounted too, because you know 8 comes after 7. So yeah.
Yeah, it happens at times. I mean, I know you didn't have Nuke on Palom just because of some unfortunate business with Ruby there at the end. I mean, it happens at times, and I think you were neck and neck with Golden pretty much right through the hook route. It's just that he had a mute knife and you didn't, and that sure was pretty hard to get through without any anti-mage gear.
Yeah, I had sold a bunch of stuff that I instantly regretted. The mute knife being one of them. Just because in practice season, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting a whole bunch of them. Odds are I'll see another one, and just never did. Plenty of Sylph summons, though, I guess. But yeah, it was a fun seed. I got to show off my back giant skills at least.
Yeah, there you go. It's always good to practice on the max because they tend to be the answer more often than not. But in this particular seed, is at least the fourth time I've seen sirens actually land in the whole shop, which is hilarious.
I've seen
Uh,
it one in probably the 30 some odd seeds I've run. Uh, so I'm like, not anything I'd
yeah,
ever count on, but yeah, figures the one
yeah.
time.
Here's the one time, right? I've seen it twice in seeds I've played. I've seen it twice in seeds that I've watched. It's like, really? Okay. uh, Deathlike, do you have any questions for Falgren?
Don't have any. I just I mean, with all the things happening, did you feel like tilted or something or anything along those lines when when things happened? There's just it
I mean,
feels bad.
definitely. Oh man, there was a second, and you can kind of see it right after I had run away from that first Mac Giant grind and trying to set up a second one. There was a second where I was just frazzled because that was a lot of time lost. Uh, and then I remembered I had the crystal armor and stuff I had never equipped, so that almost worked out better because it was a cleaner grind after that. But you just keep going forward and do what you can.
Yep, and even for all the issues you had with the grind, with that unfortunate bit of run away, though, like you were doing the ruby just as your opponent was finishing, so it's like wasn't all that far behind, even so.
Yeah, no, I saw the go and just long week and partially not feeling well, so I didn't want to waste too much time on Z. 10 minutes after. So
Yeah, well, you
it was,
gave it a good try, and
yeah.
sometimes Z is just Z. So
Oh yeah, and that's just Porum Hero. You can only do so much with some of the weird agility that's thrown your way.
all right, well, any further thoughts, Falgren, before we wish you a good night and recovery?
Well, no, it's good to be back in tournament mode. You guys, everybody on the Restream team is doing such wonderful work. Looking forward to see what next week is going to bring me. I know this evens me up with Burkett, which I know is anticipated matchup apparently. So we'll see
Well,
what happens.
we will see how the wheels of fate turn there, I guess. Best of luck next week. Hopefully, we see you again, and have a good night.
You too.
All right, so that's going to about wrap it up for us here tonight on Free Enterprise. We're going to send you over to RPG Limit Break, where the other race at 8 p.m. is going on still between, let's see, that is Vitasia versus Nitsi. And also, we're going to have more restreams for you tomorrow night, also tomorrow morning. The next race is at 10 a.m. here on Free Enterprise, where you can find a radio caller also restreaming and me doing the commentating, Deja Vu here. That's between Mazdakinza and Pyre. And then at 6 p.m. tomorrow night on Free Enterprise 2, we have Elvin Sorrow versus Cecil 2. Both of those should be excellent, so please come by and join us again for those restreams when you can. Once again, on behalf of Radio Caller, our restreamer, and NeroCod pushing the buttons, and our racers, Golden Shocker and Falgren, and Deathlike here on comms, uh, thank you again for all of your help, and we hope to see you again here next time on For Enterprise. Have a good night.